Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to the Today's Woman Show. My name is Renee Q. Boateng, and today is going to be really, really inspirational. You are blessed to be on. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. It's time for the Woman on the Move. This is a female entrepreneur who is set to attain and achieve all her goals. Let's see who she is this week.
I'm here in Cape Coast to meet a special girl, and she's known as Ayeyi. She wants the whole world to know that disability is not inability. Let's meet her.
Yes. Hello, I'm Victoria. Welcome to my home.
Hello Ayeyi, how are you doing?
I'm fine. And you?
I'm also fine. Thank you so much, Ayeyi. Thank you. Meet 7-year-old Ayeyi Yadomboachi.
I am the girl who has osteogenesis imperfecta, which means my bones are soft. It can break easily. It hurts so bad when I break my bone.
Oh. So how do you feel?
I feel fine. Who is the perfect girl? Oh, who is the perfect girl? Oh, I'm the perfect girl. I'm the perfect girl. Who say that?
When Ayeyi's mom got pregnant, everything was perfect until her 28th week scan.
The scan said the child I had deformities with their limbs. And so the doctors said we should terminate the pregnancy. That was a very difficult thing for us to do because due to our Christian values, we couldn't do such a thing like that. So September 2nd, 2011, Ayeyi was born. But before I went to see the baby, my mom told me one thing. If you see the baby, no matter how she looks like, love her with all your heart. And so when I saw the baby, it wasn't what any mother would expect from a first child.
The nurse on duty took me to where the baby was. And honestly, when I saw the baby, I said, hey, there is a major work. She was just crying. And the baby's picture has been taken into a laptop. So every evening when she's about to sleep, she will put the laptop by the bed and then watch the photo of the baby. Then one day I said, so you don't think the child has progressed from what you are watching? I had to mention it to her that henceforth, I don't want to see you watching that old picture. We are just progressing, and we have to get to a point where we have to see things differently.
Ayeyi has endured treatment for fractures since birth. Every breath or movement can cause her bones to break. Due to this, she has muscle weakness, growth and spinal issues. Now 7 years, Ayeyi is so full of life and very creative and is the epitome of strength, courage and hope in the midst of adversity.
Now, in Africa, we love to dance that way. Can I see everybody give a girl some attitude of praise?
My hair is super nice. Me, I will never, ever, ever cut my hair off because it's so special to me. And then it can give me a lot of energy to dance, sing, and also stand. So I don't want to cut my hair off.
Ayeyi says she will not allow her condition to define her. She may not be able to walk, but she's learned to stand on her feet. Her family is proud of her achievements. To them, she's a blessing.
Hi, baby.
Hi, Mommy.
I love you so much.
I love you.
And you've been a great blessing to our family.
Thank you, Mommy.
We love you and will continue to cherish you. And soar high, go places,
Okay,
and
Mommy.
affect society
Okay,
with all
Mommy.
the talent and all the blessings that God has placed on your life.
Okay, Mommy.
Mwah.
I love you, Mommy.
I love you, baby.
Currently, her family runs the Osteogenesis Imperfecta Foundation Ghana to raise and create awareness on the condition. To achieve this, Ayeyi wants to meet Ghana's First Lady, Rebecca Ekufuado.
Hello, Mama Rebecca. Please, I want to meet you. Please help OIF Ghana to help my brothers and sisters who have my condition. Thank you.
Her family is doing their best to integrate her in society, and they have not denied her the right to education.
So I should cancel the buy.
No, you cancel it from this one.
Osteogenesis imperfecta is a condition that affects 1 in 15,000 people. In Ghana, though figures are not readily available, it is estimated that about 1,000 people are living with the condition. Ayeyi wants children with special needs to know they are the true definition of what a miracle is.
You may find a situation like this in your home. Don't give up. Try to find somebody who would even encourage you.
I would tell moms and dads who are going through conditions like this that I have gone through, I would say that it's not easy. I would never say it's easy. And if you are not getting the support, always remember that you have God.
So I'm here with 7-year-old Ayeyi, and obviously she is an inspiration, and she's here to teach me some dance moves. Ayeyi, what does it take to dance like you? Show me.
Okay, so we got to move here.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Our winning woman for today is a winner. Her name is Elsie Apau. I'm sure you're like, oh yes, I know her. But she's actually Mrs. Clue. So she's Mrs. Elsie Apau Clue. And her profile is a book. If I start reading it, it will be it'll take the whole show. So let me just say she's a Ghanaian lawyer, a certified human resources practitioner. She's a policy analyst and a corporate governance specialist. Wow. You're so welcome to the show.
Thank you, my sister.
Yeah, ever welcome
I'm
to the
happy-
show.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you
to have
so
this
much.
conversation with you.
Thank you so much for coming. I know you're really busy, and it's great to have you on. There's so much that I and everybody watching, we're all going to learn so much from you. So thank you so much for coming on. Now, it says here that you're a lawyer, you're a certified HR practitioner, policy analyst. Tell us all about it, this journey. How did you, come this far?
Thank you, Renee. I am just a very normal Ghanaian girl. I started my life from a small village called Sokode-Bagla in the Volta region. I was one of those people born in 1983 when Ghana was extremely hot. And at the age of 3 months, my mom had to look for greener pastures abroad. So I had to stay with my grandmother in the village. So 3 months survived in 1983 for me was the greatest success of life. I schooled in Sokode-Bagla early primary and GSS, and then I was privileged to be in Maolu School. I had a good grade, went to University of Cape Coast and got scholarships, studied abroad. Cutting long story short, so I schooled here in Ghana. I was privileged to school in South Africa. I schooled in the Netherlands. I schooled in the UK, and back again.
And all those were on scholarships?
Almost all of them were scholarships.
Wow.
Almost
Wow.
all. I believe in one thing. if you don't have money in your home, your brain should not fail you. So
Please say that again.
if you don't have money at home, your brain should not fail you.
Your brain should not fail you. I love
So
that.
you should do as much as you can to educate yourself, to get informed. I must also acknowledge the fact that it's not everybody that must be successful in school. So you should identify what your passion is and what your purpose for life is. Because as of today, upon all my masters in law, masters in international management and finance, masters in governance, postgraduate studies in water policy, etc., I still make clothes. Yes, I've set up a fashion home where I made beautiful clothes like what I'm wearing. So it's not only about what you learn in school, but what your hands can get doing, that you be a blessing to yourself and a blessing to the society in which you belong. So that has been my journey so far.
So Elsie, I'm actually really, really impressed that you keep talking about your village and where you grew up, because a lot of people sometimes are almost ashamed, you know, to say, oh, I grew up in the village, or, you know, I went to school a bit in the village or something. A lot of people generally are almost, you know, ashamed and want to be like the city girl, the city woman, the city guy, you know. So I'm really impressed that you're actually talking about the village and everything. What do you think you took from there?
I think what I've done so far, or the journey I've been able to bring myself by the grace of God to so far, it's an inspiration from my village. You know, whilst in the village, I was so determined. I wanted to become something. We are blessed because we call ourselves Motokopevio, because we are one of those villages in Ghana, at least you see one car a day. Or at least you see cars. So that was an inspiration for you to work hard.
Yeah, tell
so
yourself that I will have one of those cars.
Exactly.
I'll drive one of those cars back home.
Exactly so. And those days when you see helicopters flying all over the place and you were like, you know, oh God, when can I also sit in one of those planes? And by the grace of God and based on those inspirations and hard work, there's no continent on this earth I've not visited yet.
Oh, that's amazing.
You know what? So I don't feel bad at all. I don't feel ashamed that I come from Soko de Bagle. In fact, if you know Elsie Appel and you don't know about Soko de Bagle,
then it's the wrong one, eh?
Yeah. No,
So
I'm
ask yourself if you know her. Yes, that's great. So what led you to actually study law? Because, you know, law is special. I'll say that in quotes, you know, and a lot of the time growing up, when you're a bit argumentative, when you're a bit like of a talkative, then your parents and people around you think, well, you have to do law. You talk too much. You have to do law, you know. But some people, like from a young age, what makes you think that it's law that I want to do? We'll come to your passion and everything, but this is actually what you studied and this is what you're practicing. So what would you say led you, you know?
Okay. Rene, I will say that I'm a woman of many parts. But what made me to, the law was not even something I identified with as a young girl from the village. I'm a talkative, I know that. And I'm grateful God gave me that talent.
Oh, so I love that you said talent. Please, high five. High five. No, because I'm a talkative too. So it's her talent.
It's a great talent.
It's a talent.
Yes,
it's a gift.
It is.
It's a gift.
And it's something I'm so proud of. Once in the village, I was very argumentative. I was a very naughty girl, I would say, because from primary 1, I didn't go to primary 2 and 3. I was jumped to primary 4 because I was just all over the place.
Smart.
You know, that kind of a thing. And the law came along. You know, I was working with the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Netherlands government, and I studied corporate governance and water governance. And I was doing a lot of work on governance and policy issues. And I realized that I was exposed to contracts, I was exposed to various government documents, and my personality was more about analysis, doing the analytical part of things. So at a point I just said to myself, Elsie, you've done a lot of studies, and it's good, you are good at what you do. But if you study law and you practice law, you can be the voice of so many people, particularly women.
Oh,
so,
wow.
yes, and that's why I said to you that I commend you for the work you are doing for women. I think that we need a lot more voice for women in our society. So in legal work, I do a lot of representation for women. I think they must be given a lot of voice, and women in business as well. So I think this and many things led me to study law.
That's fantastic. Now, you've lived in The Hague. You know, you said there's no continent that you haven't visited. You've worked as well in different countries. What have you learned there, or what do you think you've picked from there that should be happening here?
As a human resources practitioner now, because Akriti Ghana Limited, the company I represent in Ghana and 8 other African countries, we are to develop human capital. I think Ghana has a great resource when it comes to its human beings, because there's no part in the world you won't find at least a Ghanaian worker.
Yes.
And if you look at recent reports on attitudes to work, Ghanaians tend to work much better when they are outside
It's
Ghana.
true. It's true.
The American reports on attitudes to work, for instance, you see Ghanaians and other Africans are among the top performers at work.
Yeah.
Back home, I feel we don't have the right attitudes to work. Whenever it drizzles, you see people calling their employers, they cannot come to work.
Yeah.
When you're abroad and it's thick snowing, you must be at work and on time.
Yes.
So and one thing I want to change, we've started a program at Akriti we call Beyond Academics. How can we engage young people to think beyond the walls of the academic environment?
Yes.
We are not thinking outside the box enough. We are not critical enough. We are not analytical enough. And our attitude to so many things. Oh, you give somebody 3 o'clock appointment and he comes at 6 p.m. and feels everything should be fine. And you know, this comes from our top political class. You invite a minister to a meeting, he knows that the meeting should start at 2 o'clock, he comes at 4 p.m. and he feels everybody must hail him. You know, sometimes these things get me so sick and angry. And if I have an opportunity, and that's why I'm doing the work I'm doing at the moment, to mentor young people, to groom young people, particularly girls, to start thinking differently. Let's respect time. Let's have the right attitudes towards work. I think, and let's be truthful. I don't find us Ghanaians as very honest people enough.
Why would you say that, though?
We pretend too much, my dear. We pretend. We pretend just too much. When we see you, oh, your dress is so nice, you look so good, immediately you tell me, you know, that kind of a thing. You know?
Would you say it's Ghanaians or it's women?
No, it's Ghanaian.
Men as well?
Oh, my goodness. They are even worse.
I think, you know what I think? I mean, I mean, since you brought this up, I don't know if the word is bold or courageous, or I think we don't have the confidence to address issues. So sometimes if like somebody has an issue with somebody, another person, rather than sit down to discuss it, they'll see the person, laugh with the person, like you're saying, smile and everything. And when the person turns their back and then they are speaking, that I find very, very, very common. But I think it's because we don't, and I don't know how, I don't want to say it's part of our culture at all. But I don't know where that came from.
You see, the simple answer from me, and through observations, I engage a lot of people, is pretense.
Pretentious, being too pretentious.
You mentioned, for instance, people don't want to be associated with where they come from.
Yeah.
Why should it be?
Yeah.
You meet
so
an
the
American
fakeness and all that.
He or she is so proud to tell you, I come from the village of this. I come from a little village in Delft. I come from Friesland. I come from this place.
Yeah.
You know, when you do that, because you don't want the public to see where you come from to be as backward as you met it, you know, we are all on earth to make it a better place for generations that will come after us. So if Sokode Bagbale, where I come from, my home, my community, my family, remains as I met it, then I don't think I've
Do you go
fulfilled
back
purpose.
there?
Of course.
And are you doing anything?
I was there. I danced with my people.
I have to come with you. I have to come with you one of these days.
Free tickets. You are highly invited. Oh yes, giving back to society is so crucial.
Important. So what do you do there?
A few things. As I said, we mentor young people. We set up a number of training grounds. We put facilities together. I give personal scholarships to people to go back to school, particularly girls. I try to engage girls, and that's why I told you about my clothing line,
Yes,
to
yes.
bring people to see how you can train them
Yes,
to also become people. And myself and a few friends are trying to reorganize and rebuild Sokode.
I love that you were saying that we have to look sometimes out of, like, you know, the whole educational system and look at the talents and all that. I was recently speaking to a good friend of mine who was, you know, she's in the UK and she's taking her son to a fantastic private boarding school, and he's not really excelling as much. Now, I'm saying this because I want us to think as mothers. You know, every woman is a mother.
Yes.
Whether you've birthed a child or not, you'll be a mother. A mentor is a mother.
Exactly.
You're a woman. So you're a mother to somebody. And she was saying how she was so worried about it. We are paying so much school fees. This is that. And then I was like, you know, but is that what he wants to do? Have we thought about it? A lot of us Africans, Ghanaians, we are almost, you know, ashamed if, you know, our children are not lawyers, doctors, you know, how can you not be, you know, and all of that. Maybe they want to be a footballer. Maybe they want to be a tailor. Maybe they want to be a seam. Maybe they want to be a cook, a chef, you know, and that's not what you're looking. So in a way, it's like, don't you think as mothers, sometimes we put too much stress, you know, and too much on our children? What do you think about that? And what advice would you give to mothers?
I think that you are very right with the scenario. I'm a mother of 3 boys. My first son is the academic type, very smart, and he's a national semi-finalist for the spelling bee competition, something I'm proud of.
Yes.
So I want to tell women that no matter how busy you are, you can still train your children to be what you want them or they want to be. My second child tells me, Mommy, you know what? I want to learn music.
He already knows that.
That's what he wants to be. He wants to do music. He wants to do music. And anytime you ask him, he wants to do music. Buy me guitar. And you realize that when you give him books, he's just too busy. But once you put musical instruments
in front of
down,
him,
he calms down. So I feel this is his calling. I don't believe in the sorry my language, but the nonsense of everybody must get a PhD or a master's degree. No, I don't believe in it. I have friends, and I can share this. My friend Marco, a Dutch guy, very great guy, top guy of Dutch, one of the biggest international companies. He had 3 girls, and he was like, Elsie, you know what? My 3 girls don't want to go to school fully. So one wants to go to vocational school, one. And I was like, Marco, with your money and influence and all that, he said, here in the Netherlands, we are more accustomed to what the person wants to be. Because we think that when you give the person what he or she wants to be, the person is more likely to succeed at that. That when
because
you
force... Because then it's driven by passion.
And you know what?
And love.
That sent me so much of information and signals down within me and changed my whole
Your
conception
perception, everything.
and perception about life and how we should raise children. I think in Ghana we are just too much of, hey, this person is a doctor, so my child must be a doctor. Hey, listen.
And competition. Sometimes competition.
The next few decades, you might not need lawyers anymore. And that's what I keep telling people in our chamber. Because now, when you go, and I'm privileged, somehow I do work with companies outside Ghana. You go to certain countries, all the legal templates are online.
Yes,
So,
that's true.
And you know, robots are taking over jobs of doctors. So we have to start thinking
ahead.
Creative arts, everybody wants to be entertained. Robots cannot entertain you enough. So why can't we start? Africans are good dancers. Why can't we sell music? Nigeria has started it, and they knew this. The creative art industry alone in Nigeria generates a lot of revenue for them. For instance, why should we change polytechnics to technical universities and people? It's good to give them that mentality that you can do vocational and technical education and have a certification that will place you somewhere in society. But I find it extremely odd to have people in polytechnics studying art courses, history, and all of those things that we already
when it's a
have.
polytechnic institute, then is that what's happening?
I feel somehow, to some extent, because people come from polytechnics with business administration degrees, secretariatship degrees, etc. I think we should be getting focused on training mechanical, electrical engineers, people who can really help us solve problems that our nation faces.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it. Now, do you think generally women sort of limit, do you think we limit our potential? And we are talking about women.
You know, Renee, when I was in Sokode, and then I was ambitious and a go-getter, they were like, oh, sit down, calm down. After all, you are just a girl. You know what I mean? Calm down, sit down, you are just a girl.
Just a girl.
You are just a girl. You know, boys must be taken to school, boys must be exposed. But I was blessed to have a very good grandmother. She said that, hey, she didn't go to school enough, but she must bring up good kids and good lawyers. And I'm blessed to see that my grandmother raised at least 3 powerful lawyers in Ghana.
Wow.
My only uncle was the former bar president. Benson Ichupi comes from my house. My grandmother didn't go to that much school herself, but she was able to train very good people.
So, I mean, what I'm getting from this right now is you don't need such a high education to be a great mother.
No.
You know, so sometimes I'm saying this because I'm just picturing some women crying. Hey, manko school, I didn't go to school. How can I even take care of? Will my child be somebody when I know nothing? Now, I don't think because you haven't gone to school, you know nothing. No. So I just love what you just said.
My grandmother were cracking palm kernel. You know, that's the home I come from. We crack palm kernel. We go and cultivate coconuts, okay, and go and look out for markets. We go and uproot cassava for people. My grandmother was
But did you weed though? Because me, I weeded though. Did you weed?
Dear.
I went to St. Rosie's Secondary School. Look at my palm. We weeded.
Please, weeding at St. Rosie's, please, give me a break. You know what they call apa?
Tell me.
I go and weed for people and get paid to go to school.
No, proper weeding.
With cutlass, I can weed. With hoe, I can weed.
Yeah, but me too, I can weed.
I'm my sister, I'm not talking about weeding alone. I'm talking about a farm.
Farming.
Go to do beds for yams and plant
all those
yams.
are organic products.
Oh my goodness. Is it bathing of a pig in a piggery or feeding poultry? No, those were things we did at home. And for me, hands-on things. My grandmother was so hardworking. She always wanted to make some end meet. She doesn't want to limit herself. And I'm so happy that I broke palm kernel to cook.
You have that experience.
I didn't know, how do you call it?
Yes.
Palm kernel oil. I was cooking it. We cook it together and sell to make money. So I'm not talking about your St. Rosie's.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm being so proud of that.
It doesn't matter where you come from.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter even where you grew up from. But it is about you.
Yes. And it's about what comes out of you, I think.
Excuse me once again. I met colleagues from at the law school, went to GIS and all these big schools. But in competition, some of them didn't even come. And you know, they'll come and sit next to you. Oh, can you explain this to me? Can you teach me? I say, please, which school did you go to again? You know what I mean? No, I'm not dumb.
Yes. So basically, it's not about dropping names.
So my as a woman there, you don't need to be part of the heavy elite family, or you must not even come
but
from. But
you can be the shining star, you know, and shine like. I just love that. That's beautiful.
God played a lot of role in my life. Acknowledge Him. I don't know what you believe in, but if you believe there is creation and there is a creator, it's always good to admonish Him and let Him guide your ways.
Give Him glory. I just love that. Love it so much. Now, you know, there's so many, and you've said a lot. You've actually said a lot. I'm sure you're so inspired. You're probably thinking, wow, we want to hear this woman for like the whole hour. You know, but, you know, I'm just thinking that there are some women, okay, who think they are not good enough. It's a mindset. That's what they've told themselves. You know, sometimes you see women and then they are insecure because they are comparing themselves to somebody else. You just said that in school, people could even reach out to you for help. like some women will not even reach out to another woman for help because it will make her feel even less of a. I want you to speak to women out there, you know, about insecurity, about knowing yourself, about appreciating yourself, you know, because you've been through so many things, you know, that have made you who you are today. Some may be good, some may be not so good, but, you know, you're so proud of it today because it's made you who you are, you know, and I want you to speak to women like that out there who are probably doubting themselves, self-doubt.
Yeah. Okay, my sister, you know what? I've always said that on earth, right now, as we are sitting here, I think I'm the only Elsie Appel.
Of course.
I'm the only one born on the day on which I was born. And I think you are the only person called by your name, look the same as
Renee Q. You have to mention the name.
Thank you, Renee Q. You know, right? You know, so we are all made very unique. So for me, I don't see my immediate environment to limit me. There is a bigger goal. I always ask myself, why am I here on earth? Why is it that when I was giving birth to, I was not born in 82, 80 or something else, but it must be that particular time? Why was it that at this time people were traveling abroad to do this? My grandmother had the opportunity and left me in the village in Sokode Bagle. You know what I mean? So it's, if you don't know, just ask. You are unique. You are made for a purpose on earth. So that should be the starting point. For me, if I don't know something, and I know you know, I'll come and ask you.
That's the best thing.
No, because it doesn't, I don't feel it makes me less a person. That's why I started talking about pretense in our society. If I see your dress is nice, oh, my sister, this dress is nice. Will you be kind to tell me where you got it? Oh, this information is useful. Will you be kind to tell me where I can get it? It doesn't mean that I must compete with you. Competition, though, is good, but you shouldn't.
It can be healthy competition.
The healthy competition is good, but negative competition where you want to tag and kill the person to just be at the same level of the person is something that I don't think is very productive. So for women who feel that they don't have the courage, they are not secured. No, everybody has a particular talent. So for me as a woman, you should identify more what you are good at and try to support and enable yourself. And I think we should also build supportive mechanisms. We've had it as Africans, but I think we don't even think about it. My work within the UN system made me, I got very exposed to women because I was working with UN Women, and we were responsible for developing policies and strategies that will help national machineries like the ministries of women, for instance, to make life better for women. There were a number of cultural practices that limit women naturally. So,
everywhere in the world?
Everywhere in the world, and Africa in particular.
Okay.
Yes, everywhere in the world and Africa in particular. For instance, if you talk about child and early marriages, you see, a lot of younger women, not as compared to Mali, Burkina Faso, and other countries, but we are not doing well when it comes to the number of younger girls that keep marrying and giving birth. I think it's something we can change. So one is to get the women empowered and informed to make the right decisions. But I think strongly that we can improve upon our state mechanisms to make life much easier for women. I think women should be exposed to education because it's important. We must share information. I'm proud about what you are doing, for instance, bringing women to give back to society. That's one way to go. So people should get information and people should know where to seek help.
Right, that's the thing.
There are a lot of women.
But can they even reach to the helpers? That's the thing.
We can start.
There are so many huge organizations that are set up. We help this, we do this. You can't even reach them.
Because most of the time, the monies they use to do this don't come from us. So the person who calls the what's even the expression? He that you call the piper that the tune. What's the English? Anyway, it will come. No, whoever is paying for something somehow influences or controls the modus operandi. So I'm not talking about international NGOs alone coming to support the process. Government must make conscious efforts to make sure
when
that...
it comes to government.
But that's why we vote for them and entrust our resources into their hands. So unfortunately, we can't do without them.
Yeah.
That's why it's active and informed citizenship is important. I have difficulty with educated Ghanaians who don't want to participate and influence political discourse in this country. Because if we all say, hey, if I go into policy discussion, you can do it at the local level. If I go into policy discussion, if I enter politics, I'll be tagged this, I'll be tagged that. Who will grow Ghana for us? America didn't start as America today. There were a lot of civil unrest. People in society, citizens took active interest in the development of America. If you go to the Netherlands, if you go to England, so we as Ghanaians and as women, I think we should seek information, which I acknowledge the fact that there are sometimes challenges or difficulties. But I think we should press more. Because if those institutions are there, getting budgets and receiving monies to do something on your behalf and you don't go for it, you should ask yourself, where does the money go back to?
Where does the money go?
So I will go 3 times, 10 times, sack me, I will come again. Oh yes, immediately, as far as I know,
that's what you are there for.
This is what you are supposed to do. And the category you define, I must find myself in, I will come 10 times.
So how did the clothing line come in then, and how are you able to manage it all?
First of all, this came up, I want to tell Ghanaian women, particularly those who feel that they've not gone to school, or those who feel that they've gone to school, to know that, hey, you can be a lawyer, but still be passionate and let your passion come out. So, because when I started, somebody was like, oh, lawyer, why should a lawyer start a clothing line? Why are you doing this?
As if you are belittling yourself.
And I was like, why not? What makes a clothes seller better, or what makes a lawyer feel better than a clothes seller? Then I realized those people started coming back to me. I was like, oh, okay, then can you make this dress for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? No, I want, you know, lawyers or people in the legal profession are sometimes seen as untouchable. You know, when you go to a little village and you say you are a lawyer, everybody...
They are afraid of you.
And now even everybody starts, when they complete school, they start writing lawyer so and also
the title.
Oh my God. Let's break down the ice. I love to see beautiful clothes being worn. And when I was in the village somehow, my grandmother introduced me to clothing. And then I also went to study a bit of fashion in France. So after all of these, I was like, Elsie, why not start up something? Because if I look at the number of clothes I give to others to make, and the number of things I'm always designing, and I already have people that I can bring from the village and support.
So these are all people you brought?
Not all of them.
Okay.
Some of them are girls and boys from communities around me. And then I bring them together.
So is it a ready-to-wear line, or
Yes,
is it actually like bespoke, like you make bespoke clothing?
We do both. So we have some ready-to-make clothes that you can just visit our shop or online sales points and then buy. And then we also make custom clothes, because I like to make things for myself to wear.
Well,
So
I would love to see your wardrobe. I had to say.
We'll be glad. Please visit us.
I
We'll
will.
be glad to. You are doing a good job.
I will.
See how in our little ways. So that's how the clothing started. As a mother and all of this. My grandmother was a grandmother and a mother. She was a farmer. She was a trader. She was like the lawyer in quote for the village, because
she spoke for the village.
She spoke for the voiceless. She was an advocate for other women. And she's somebody, when you have troubles and you speak to Dajoji, you feel like, oh.
You know, yeah.
Like, you know,
a burden
that kind
has been lifted off your shoulder.
So I was like, if my grandmother had more than 20 children, grandchildren, at one point she was taking care of all of us. And we're all happy, working so hard. Why can't I do this in Accra when I have electricity? When I have cars, I have these, I have
So did
that.
you ever meet your mom again? Did she come back?
Unfortunately, she passed away.
Oh, I'm
no,
so
but I
sorry.
met her several times. I even went somehow to live with her, and but she passed away the year I finished the university.
Oh, I'm so sorry
May she
about
rest in
that.
peace.
Yes, may she
she's
rest
doing very
peacefully.
dear, So I do that, and aside my busy schedule, I told you my first son is a semi-finals a semi-finalist for the spelling bee. So you can be a hardworking corporate woman, but the family is where you came from.
Yeah.
So you cannot ignore your child, because I asked myself, to what gain do you get if you are rich, you are influential, everybody in Ghana knows you, and you have, excuse my language, wayward children?
You know, because I find that now, generally, it's the nannies that are looking after our children.
No, not in my house.
Yeah, generally, you know.
Not in my house. And I tell my friends, the nanny is supposed to support you.
Yeah.
It's not to take over your job.
I mean,
But
there was one time I went somewhere and I saw the program ended, and so we're all coming out, and the children were also coming, and the mother of the child called the child, and the child said no and called the nanny's name, and rather ran to the nanny.
No.
You know, so there was no connection even with the mother. It was like rather with the nanny.
And
you know, so
that's-
we have to, how can we balance it? We must.
No, it's important. I always tell women, wherever I go to, I've had very heavy shadows. But I tell you, it's because of these children or this family. That's why
That
you
you
are
are working,
making
yeah.
an ends meet. So to what gain will it be that you are minister so and so and your children are drug addicts? Or you are minister so and your children are prostitutes? So you must have time for your children.
Yeah.
I bath my children every morning myself. Yes. And I sit down and eat breakfast at least with them,
Yeah.
if I can't meet them at dinner time. So I think we need to balance it. Look at your schedules and see what works for you. But I'm totally against a system where mothers, but of course I must say, I'm blessed to have a very good husband. He supports me
Yes,
a lot.
when you have a
And I call
supportive
on
husband.
husbands to help their wives out. Because parenting is not only for women.
Yes,
In
for
Ghana
both
and
of you. You
Africa,
made them together.
you know, in Ghana and
Yeah.
Africa, it is made as if you are the woman. You carry the child for 9 months and that's your
It's
burden.
yours, yes.
But when they complete and become very good people,
Then
in
you be
society,
saying, "That's
then
my child."
their- You know what? So husbands should help their wives. And women, please look at your schedules. Look at what works for you. Will it be early morning or maybe late late at night? Because why should teacher teach your child at school and come back home to continue the same teaching, helping them with homework. etc., when you are educated and can do
You
that?
can do
I
it,
learned this
yeah.
from India. Indian mothers support their kids a lot. If you go to Spelling Bee, the global one, most of them are Indians. Yesterday, I read about a 13-year-old child who is being paid $120,000 US by Amazon.
Really?
And I was like,
For doing
oh
what?
my God.
Tell me, let me go and train my son.
Anyway, we'll have this come. No, but so much is happening in the world. So as mothers...
And the younger ones are so intelligent.
My
I mean, they are doing
goodness.
things now. My son is 4.
Yeah.
When he sees you and he takes your phone, the first thing is, what's your password?
Thank you very much.
And I'm like, what password? You know, but the children are intelligent.
They are just too smart. They will just be watching and say, Mom, you know what? I catch it.
Yes,
I know your password.
yes.
Whilst they were
So we
doing-
need to pay attention to them.
There's so
We
much
need to-
information out there. Those times where we will call pennies kakai is no longer now. They know, they have information. So you must have time for your kids and teach them the right things, the way you want them to be, so that they don't go wayward. Because you think you are hiding information from them.
And they already know.
As parents, I think we should have time for our kids. We should mentor them, because I think we are answerable to God. Because God could have given my son to you,
Yeah.
or to somebody else. But if God decides to give that person to you, I think we are accountable.
You know what, Elsie? I find you as a woman of wisdom. You've said so much. You've encouraged me in so many ways. I mean, I'm sure people watching are like, oh, wow, I never thought of this way, that way. I want to give you just 30 seconds. You know, speak to somebody out there. There's somebody watching. You know, sometimes some people watch certain programs. They end up even crying sometimes because something touches them in a way. I want you, in 30 seconds, speak to somebody out there. You never know who it is that you are blessing, who you are impacting. Just speak to some woman out there and just say a word.
Okay, thank you very much. I would say that Ghanaian women, we are made wonderfully. We are very wonderful people made by the Creator, and we find ourselves in a very peaceful country or peaceful environment. I don't believe that where I come from can limit me. No. I have bigger goals, and I'm eyeing that, and I'm going for that. So no matter where you come from, particularly rural women, this is why I'm here today. And I accepted your invitation. Because today's woman, I was like, why today's woman? I want to tell people who come from places like Sokode Bagle, that cannot even be located on the maps of Ghana, that you can become one, not just a lawyer, but a global award-winning lawyer if you make up your mind to be. And it's not just about titles, it's about touching the lives of people. For me, it's not the money you make, it's not the amount of money you make, but it's the number of people who should smile when they hear your name. So don't let the circumstances around you be limitations to your success. And I think the kids, if you are blessed with children naturally or by legal means, God has given them to you for a purpose. Don't be too busy. Sit down sometimes, reflect, and enjoy the little moments with these ones, because they are growing so quickly and it might not be the same sometimes. So just be what you want to be.
Awesome. I've had such a great time with you. I mean, it could go on and on. We have to arrange to have lunch later because we can't continue now, and there's certain things we need to discuss. It's just been.
And you have to help me improve my French.
No problem. No problem. It's just been amazing. I want to wish you all the very best. You are an award winner. She's won several awards: Global Ambassador, Jack Brewer Foundation USA, 2019 50 Top Young CEOs in Ghana. I mean, international awards, Best Employee of the Dutch Foreign Affairs Ministry. There's so much in you, and there's so much more you could do for me and for many other women out there. So, you already have a voice, which is amazing. So I just want to say, may the good Lord continue to empower you in what you're doing, because what you're doing is blessing so many people out there. And ladies, I mean, I've mentioned all these awards. You probably don't have the award, but you have the voice. You have the love within you. You have just the spirit that uplifts another woman or a child somewhere. Please don't limit yourself. Don't think I haven't gotten there yet. You are where you are, and you are today's woman. Make it work. We'll be right back.
When Agnes Teko Nyamite became pregnant at 46 years, she leapt with joy, knowing her pregnancy was indeed the miracle she had been praying for.
And then when I went to the hospital and I asked, I missed my period, the nurse on duty said that it was menopause because I was 46 then. But I asked her to allow me to go through the lab test and see whether it's pregnancy. So I went through the lab test, and the following day they asked me to come, and it was positive. It was a difficult one because I had my first child who was 18 years then.
But when she gave birth, she was told her daughter had extra chromosomes, meaning she was born with a condition known as Down syndrome.
An associate pastor with my church, First Baptist Church, she came actually to visit me when I was in the hospital. And I had told her that the doctor had told me that my daughter has Down syndrome, but I refuse it in Jesus' name. She told me that yes, you can refuse it. It's not bad if you say you refuse it in Jesus' name. But what if God says no? I will not change this girl's condition, but this is the child that I've given you. What will you do? It dawned on me that yes, God can also say no. This is the child I've given you, so what will I do?
She had told me that she had delivered a baby girl. I didn't know there was any conditions, or she was diagnosed with any conditions. So then when I go home, I saw her surfing the web, and she was reading about Down syndrome. And then I had an idea about Down syndrome. I didn't really know what it was, but I had a general idea of what Down syndrome was. So I asked her why she was reading about Down syndrome, and then she just broke down in tears. So then I knew that it must have been something close to me, someone close to us. So I just surmised that it was my sister who had Down syndrome.
Vowing to let her daughter live in a socially inclusive environment despite the challenges and stigmatization, Agnes has enrolled Toda in school. She's at the Wilmore Christian Academy and she's making progress slowly.
I love you, you love me, we are one big family. A great heart and make it something to you. I want to say you love me too.
Good. Give me a high five.
When she was first enrolled in the school, she wasn't able to identify colors, even to grab a pencil or a crayon to color. She was having a problem with it. But thanks be to God, now she can scribble, she can color in an accurate space that you give her to color.
Parents of children with special needs should always be encouraged to send their wards to school. Here at the Wilmore Christian Academy, Toda is a living example that through inclusive education, children with and without special needs can all be in one classroom and enjoy quality education.
Down syndrome is a lifelong clinical condition caused by extra chromosomes found in a person's biology. Chromosomes determine the physical characteristics of every person, such as the hair, eyes, color, and height. Children with Down syndrome, because of the extra chromosomes, come with some peculiar physical traits. For example, they may appear to have a flat face, eyes that slant upwards and are more floppy, resulting in delayed developments like sitting, crawling, walking, and talking. Diagnosis of Down syndrome can be done at the prenatal stage of pregnancy using blood tests and an ultrasound scan. Despite the challenges and limitations that come with having Down syndrome, Toda is living her life to the fullest. She's a model and walks like a pro. She offered to even teach me some lessons in modeling.
Apple.
Down Syndrome Awareness Month is marked every year in October to celebrate people with Down syndrome and to make people aware of the abilities and accomplishments of persons living with the condition.
Toda, darling.
Yes, Mommy.
You know I love you so much.
Yes.
When you came into my life, I thought you were a problem. But you've been a blessing to me. And I love you so much. I believe that there are a lot of things that you can do. And by the grace of God, you achieve them.
Thank you.
I love you. I love you so, so much.
Me too.
My mom and I, we set up a foundation, Toda Connect Foundation, and the purpose of the foundation was to create awareness on the condition, Down syndrome, and also to educate people, to reach out to people with children and parents of children with Down syndrome, reach out to them and then try to encourage them to accept their children the way they are, love them the way they are, teach them how to be able to cater for themselves.
Poshigabo, TV3 News, Accra.
Today has been such an inspiration. I hope you're as blessed as I am. I mean, there's so much I took from this, and I'm sure you have as well. But really, ladies, nothing should limit us in any way. Your background, your level of education, you know, your name, your family, nothing at all should limit you. You are today's woman. Just go out and shine. See you next week. Thank you so much for joining us. It's 11 a.m. Saturdays on TV3 and DSTV channel 279. And many thanks to our sponsors, to Movenpick Ambassador Hotel, to GTP, Yaz, and everybody else who continues to support us. Thank you.